When you think of the prestigious college football programs, it's natural for the southern states to come to mind, as they make up a majority of the top teams in the NCAA. Just look on a map. There's historic programs in Texas, down in Florida, Georgia, out west in California, and of course, the team holding the pinnacle of success in college football for the last decade, Alabama. I'm sure the state of New Mexico doesn't come to mind when you think of college football's premier stages, as the New Mexico Lobos only have 2 winning seasons in the last 10 years, and the New Mexico State Aggies haven't won more than 7 games in a season since 1965. Yet, after a full season of just assembling a roster, finding guys who weren't recruited out of high school, and a full calendar year containing nothing but practices with no games, a new Division I program has announced their preparations are finished, and they will join Conference USA in the upcoming season. The Bandits of Santa Fe University will now be established in the college football family. Hey everyone, welcome to my newest project on this channel, the Santa Fe Bandits, and I think first off we should meet the coaching staff of this newly established program. At head coach, it's Billy the Kid, one of the most popular Wild West Bandits of all time, a very interesting time frame indeed of American history. The offensive coordinator is Jesse James. In his day, he was mostly a bank and train robber. Jesse James was one of the most active bandits in all of the land for about 10 years until a failed attempt at a bank robbery left most of his crew deceased. The defensive coordinator will be Wyatt Earp, one of the most controversial bandits in the Wild West. At different points in his life, Wyatt Earp was on both sides of the law. At one point he was a sheriff, at one point he was a bandit, and despite all the gunfights, including at the OK Corral, one of the most famous gunfights he was a part of, he was never shot once by any other person. Quite remarkable. But even more remarkable is just through the faith of God, these 3 guys have been resurrected and given the chance to do something actually constructive, and these guys turn to coaching this new program. Well, now you've met the coaching staff, I think it's time we meet the players, and at quarterback, surprise surprise, is our captain. He's a guy that has had a checkered past, but he's somebody that everybody will have their eyes on. Scott Cipriano goes under center for the first season of Bandits football. As you can see, he's rocking the knee brace. It's because he was originally from Panthersville, Georgia, and he actually had a scholarship to play football at Georgia, but in his freshman year he tore up that right knee and never came back healthy. So now he's transferred here to lead the program and maybe have a second chance and revive his career. The starting halfback will be Desmond Nichols, the sophomore. He doesn't really have top-end speed, not many of these guys do, but his game is predicated more on elusiveness and making people miss. Don't be surprised to see a lot of freshmen and sophomores throughout the roster, as many new college football teams, that's what the rosters are mostly built off of. There might be a little bit of a committee back there in that backfield, as here is Michael Goodwin, who's more of a power back, who will be sharing carries with Desmond Nichols. Now the number 1 receiver, Matthias Durrell, a sophomore. He's expected to lead the team in receptions here in year 1. Standing at 5'11", he doesn't really specialize in anything in particular, but he'll give you a little bit of everything at that receiver position. Number 2 guy, Jared Pinelli. He stands at 6'1", and surprise surprise, another sophomore. I'm surprised he wasn't recruited more heavily out of high school. He's a very good athlete and can soar over people with his jumping ability. Now we're going to see our gadget type player, Tyquan Kimberly. He'll play some receiver, he'll play some running back. Expect to even see him back there returning kicks. He's the only player on the team with 90+ speed, so we're going to look to utilize him. Our number 4 receiver, Jaden Martinez, a solid contributor. But don't forget about Theodore Mosley there in the middle. Theo was originally recruited to play receiver, but he put on some muscle and now he'll be at that tight end spot. Expect a lot of 2 tight end sets with Walter Heisley. He'll handle a lot of the blocking. Speaking of blocking, our highest rated offensive lineman is Timothy Abbott. He plays left tackle, and speaking of that, one of the things going forward in this series is we desperately need to add offensive line talent. We looked out getting a guy who already has experience at quarterback in Scott Cipriano, but it won't matter if he doesn't have the time that he needs. Now let's switch to the opposite side of the ball. Musa Ibrahim, the left end, will be the leader of the line, but he won't be the only intriguing player down in the trenches, as here is Jabari Burgess, who plays some nose tackle, some defensive line, some end maybe too. He's got an impressive 6'5", 285-pound frame, but moving back one line of position, we have Tayshawn Foster in the middle. He'll be our Mike linebacker coming this season. He's probably the most sure tackler we have on the team. He's fairly quick for his size, 6'2", 240. He can do a lot of different things in the run game. Now let's meet the secondary. We have Khalil Grimes. He's at the top of the depth chart for the cornerbacks, shared with a guy that we're going to meet just in 1 second. He excels more in zone because it's hard for him to go one-on-one being only 5'9". He gets bullied in press coverage a little bit. Now here is the corner lining up adjacent from Khalil Grimes. It's Chris Childress. He's a little bit more well-rounded than Khalil Grimes, a few inches taller. We're excited to see him play. Now here's the guy who played free safety for us, Darian Sosa. He's got the athletic traits to be a decent player, but he needs to work on smoothing out the skills of his game a little bit. Now, of course, Cipriano's the offensive captain, but we have not decided on a defensive captain yet. But if head coach Billy the Kid had to choose right now, he would probably go with Jordan Okadibo, his strong safety. Standing at 6'2" and not as quick as the other guys, he's more of a box safety. He'll play different positions, but the coaching staff will choose the defensive captain based off of level of play and leadership. Handling special teams will be Roger Cairns and Angel Huerta. Now let's take a look at some of the red shirts. We have the freshman quarterback Earl Sloan getting the red shirt, Gabriel Cunningham, another freshman, this time a running back, Sean Williamson, the second string right tackle, Keyshawn Lowry Tate, a defensive tackle that these guys are very excited for. We won't see him in action year 1, however. Eliezer Santana, the strong safety, will be getting a red shirt as well. Now we're going to take a look at the depth chart for this season. Billy the Kid has finalized it and it's ready for our opening day game. But while we look at this depth chart, let's talk a little bit about the philosophy of Billy the Kid here in season 1. Yes, we're expected to do bad. We're expected to win 2-3 games maybe, but we can't come into the season thinking like that. That's why on our offense we're going to try to throw in different ripples, different looks. If we come in with that mindset that we're supposed to do bad, we will do bad. We don't have the team equipped to run like a pro-style offense and sling it with some of these other Conference USA opponents, and even a Big 12 opponent, as I'll show you whenever we get the schedule. Cipriano doesn't have the experience for that, our offensive line can't give him the time to do that, and our receivers across the board are just not as athletically gifted as some of the cornerbacks and defenses and secondaries we'll be facing. But at the same time, we can't do a ground and pound game with Nichols and Goodwin. Once again, our line isn't up to par. So you see, we kind of have to find a balance, kind of have to throw a lot of different looks. In the playbook that Billy the Kid has put together, he will show a lot of different looks and sub in different players to try to put up points and stay competitive and keep teams on their toes. Now we'll switch to recruiting. Now, recruiting won't play that big of a role in season 1 because we have so many freshmen and sophomores on the squad. We don't have many seniors leaving. I believe we only have 9, so I'll just keep it simple here early on. We'll do our top 5 guys. At number 1, we have the hard-hitting Rashawn Work from California. He's a 4-star safety, but he's interested in us, so we're going to try to go after him. Andrew Barron, a 6'5" lineman, going back with the offensive line depth. 6'5", 280, impressive physical gifts. He's pretty mobile for his size as well. He might be a day 1 starter if he comes here as well. 82 run block. He excels in the run game. Now, At number 3, we got Brennan Johnson, a 6'1 safety from Texas, a pipeline state of ours. Texas is known for high school talent, and Brennan Johnson might actually play some corner, 77 press. We'll wait to see what else he can do though. You have Joe Davis, a defensive end. See, we can't play a vanilla type of football and try to succeed. We're going to have to blitz a lot. And Joe Davis might be that guy to add to our line to help with that. He's a pass rushing extraordinaire coming in with 88 excel. We love what he brings to the table, as pass rushers are a little lacking on this team. Now, another defensive lineman. It's Jeremy Lee, a 6'8" end from Nebraska. He's very different from Joe Davis. He will overpower you, but he doesn't have the skill to start day one. He might be a redshirt if he comes here. But there's our top 5 going into season 1, and last but not least, our schedule has been released. Our first game in school history will be at Texas. Then we face New Mexico State for our home opener, then another tough game at Memphis. Then we have our first Conference USA game against WKU, Arkansas State at home, then at Rice, Old Dominion, at Southern Miss, LTU, UTSA, UTEP, and North Texas. So we get 3 Texas teams to end the year. My record prediction for year 1 is 3-9. I think we'll beat New Mexico State, upset Western Kentucky, and steal a game at the end of the year from North Texas. The next video in the series will be the intra-squad scrimmage, where the first stringers will face the second stringers in our spring game. Thank you so much for 100 subscribers. This new series is to try to spoil you and a way for me to say thanks for the support. And as always, stay tuned. The scrimmage will be our team debut.